and get started here. Sorry about the little bit of delay. First thing on our, I believe minutes were sent out to look at for your approval. Just note those in your email. First thing we have is a hearing on Senate Bill or House Bill 2458. Adam, can you give us a briefing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2458 would designate a portion of U.S. Highway 56 as the PFC Shane Austin Memorial Highway. The portion of highway to be named would encompass that portion of U.S. Highway 56 from the northeastern city limits of the city of Edgerton in Johnson County to the southwestern city limits of Gardner. As statutorily required, the Secretary of Transportation would install the signs once the cost requirements were fulfilled. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Committee questions for Adam. Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is very familiar. Have we seen this bill before?
I don't recall this bill actually ever coming up, but I could be wrong. But
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Adam. First conferee we have is Representative Proctor. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee, for allowing me to speak today. So PFC Shane Austin enlisted in the Army just as soon as he was old enough to enlist in the Army, and after basic training, went straight to Iraq. And Shane was tragically killed in Iraq in 2007. And I never had the privilege of knowing Shane, but I got to know his mom really, really well. Debbie Austin has been very, very active with Gold Star families. She was instrumental in the memorial that was built out in Olathe, the Gold Star Memorial, and she's been very active with the bill that's making its way through the House right now to place a Gold Star Memorial here on the grounds of the state capitol. She's a force of nature, and she's very determined to make sure that our service members, and those who made the ultimate sacrifice and those that are still serving today, are recognized. I got to know her not through the Gold Star Memorial, but through Wreaths Across America. We have two federal cemeteries in Leavenworth, one in Fort Leavenworth and one in the Leavenworth National Cemetery. She's out there every year pounding the pavement to get the donations for the wreaths, but also for the wreaths. And the sponsor of this bill, I'm the co-sponsor. The sponsor of this bill, Representative Collins, knew Shane's dad really, really well. And tragically, Shane's father passed a couple years ago, but the whole town feels the loss both of Shane and of his father. And I think this would be an incredible way to recognize Shane's service, but also to recognize the service of all those who've raised their hand and risked their lives for their nation. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Committee questions? See none. Senator Hawk.
Just Representative Proctor, thanks for being here. Do you have written testimony? I'm looking in my folder, and I'd like to have it.
I will submit testimony right after this. I dropped the ball. I did not realize this hearing was today, but the chairman was kind enough to let me know, and so I will get testimony in just as soon as this meeting's over.
And I was noticing in SEP note that his mother had given written testimony, but I don't see that. I assume that's in the record.
I'm not aware that she gave testimony for this hearing. She gave testimony for the House hearing, but
for the House hearing.
Yeah, she did, and I can also attach that to my testimony as well.
I would really appreciate it. I like having a good record, and especially in the words you said about recognizing not just the contribution of this individual, but all of the people who served our country and lost their lives. So,
yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So you believe there'll be good community support to raise money for the signs?
Yes, sir. I believe they've already raised all the money. They're just waiting for us to pass the bill. So, yeah, but the VFW there is been, working towards this for a couple of years now, and they've already got the money for the signs, I believe.
Excellent. Further questions? See none, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are there any further proponents on 2458? Any neutrals? Any opponents? Seeing none, we'll close the hearing on 2458 and turn our attention to House Bill 2478. Adam?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2478 would designate a portion of US Highway 166 as the Sgt. Evan S. Parker Memorial Highway. The portion to be named would encompass US Highway 166 from the junction with US Highway 81 in Sumner County, then east to the western city limits of the city of Arkansas City and Cowley County. And as stated earlier, the Secretary of Transportation would install the signs once the cost requirements were fulfilled.
Committee, questions for Adam? Thank you. And committee note, you won't have written testimony on this one either. But we do have a proponent, Representative Riley. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. I appreciate it. My case was about the same as the previous representative. Just found out about this minutes ago. We did have some written testimony to give you, and so we'll get that to you by the end of the day. A little bit of background on Sgt. Parker. He was born in Wichita, but grew up, went to school and everything in South Haven, Kansas. And if you want to see some information on him, there is a full web page if you want to go out to registry.com. And has a lot of different comments there about it from his family and a little background about him. So, which brings me to one of the points that the previous representative talked about. And again, this person's family, Anita Dixon, his mom, she is also a Gold Star mom, and she's a real go-getter as far as promoting that institution. So I hope one of these days you get a chance to meet her. She was up here, I think, 5 years ago, if you were when they were originally putting together the Gold Star families, and so she was here testifying for that. So you remember that? Anyhow, so she's very much a promoter of Gold Star family. She's very much a promoter for her son. Her son graduated from South Haven High School, went to Cowley County College, which is in Ark City, and so that's why we are designating that road from South Haven over to Ark City, to the border or the city limits of Ark City. And then he was there for a year, and then he went into the military and passed away from wounds from that happened in like May of 1999, Operation Iraqi Freedom. And so we would appreciate your support on this bill. I don't know that there's any more that I can say. Just find family. The road that we're designating, it goes right by a family farm where they still own land. And so I'll stand for questions.
Committee questions? Senator Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Riley. I just wanted to compliment on having the bill that outlined some of Sgt. Parker's service and his life and his sacrifice, and I think that's really good having that in the record along with designating the Memorial Highway. So thank you for doing that.
And thank you, Senator. And like I say, that was just the tip of the iceberg. There is a whole lot more, and all these gold families, they have this register that's up on the internet, and so you can go up and do a search, and you can search, by state or by name and find information about them, and so their family can post information about their families. So again, that's goldstarfamilyregisters.com. So, thank you.
Senator Pittman.
I just want to echo Senator Hawk's comment. If you haven't looked at the bill, this is probably a good new standard we should aspire to, where it talks about Sergeant Evan Parker and the fact that he had 2 IED injuries, which were terrible back during the Iraqi freedom. And there's a series of things where it says, whereas Sergeant Parker was deployed to Iraq in October 2004 for Operation Iraqi Freedom, and whereas Sergeant Parker was awarded his first Purple Heart in May 2005 for head trauma caused by the roadside IED attack. And it goes through the whole story here, and I think that's pretty fantastic that you took the time to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. And, you know, challenge to this family was that they flew into Germany where he was in the hospital there and they had to pull the plug on him. That's really tough to have to do that for your son. So, any other questions?
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any further proponents on 2478? Any opponents? Any neutrals? We'll close the hearing on 2478. Committee, that's about it for the day. Apologize for the short meeting. I would have added in another bill if we'd have known this. With that, we are adjourned.